DeAndre McDonald.
Who is DeAndre McDonald?
DeAndre McDonald.
What up?
I don't care about them wannabe comedians. I'm the real thing.
He does a good impression of you, though.
How can I make the most amount of money while selling out the most amount of people?
So you think I should have him killed?
Dre, I work hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, this film came out around the time period of the, what is that thing when we all had to sit home for like a year and a half? Mimi, you're muted.
The quarantine or the
Thank
pandemic, however you want to refer.
Thank you. This came out during the quarantine, even though it has the big Lionsgate logo flying across the front of it. This came out on streaming only. It came out on streaming. It had no advertising except for like a YouTube video. They had no money behind it. And if it was not for Instagram, I would have never have heard this film. But when you look at the lineup of comedians that are part of this film, oh my God. Like, even when you watch it, you're like, what the? So when I saw this, and I loved the clip. I thought the clip was dope. I had no idea. Well, obviously the term, 2 minutes of fame is a play off of 5 minutes of fame. So I was like, man, somebody's going to have like a micro fast blow up and phase out. So I was like, man, that sounds like a interesting film. So I definitely bought it and I watched it and we'll get to the review in just a second. Dad Panther, what was your initial impression?
At first, I thought it was going to be like this B-rated, bargain bin type of thing. But I thought it was shot. I'm about to jump into it already. My whole idea was I'm just going to check this out. It looked really good as far as the picture, the lineup they had. I was like, hey, let's see what this is. But I thought it was going to be trash.
Me, your initial impressions?
I thought it was going to be trash initially. Yeah.
So I saw the lineup and it was just really interesting to me. I wasn't sure what they were going to do with it because they had people, from Lunel and like George R. Martin who are like late 60s, all the way down to the newer comedians. And I was just like, well, what are they trying to do here? Is this going to be, another what was the one before it's Pimpin'? Was it American something? I can't remember, but it was going to be like a stand-up movie. I didn't know how they were going to make all of these, how they were going to write all of these personalities into. Right. So I was just like, let's see what they're trying to do here. I don't know.
Word. I definitely didn't think it was going to be like it's Pimpin' because that's a stand-up. That's like a straight stand-up. And
no, the one before it, what was the name of that one? Where they went on tour and like, yeah,
he had the stuff going on behind the scenes. I'll look it up for you. But I was definitely interested to see, because it's been a while since he's been in a part in an independent film. He's been doing big films, so I was like, that's interesting. Why he over here doing something independent? So I was like,
well.
What?
Most of the time when he does that, it's to give the other comedians work. So I was just like,
Gotcha.
Well, in that case, why didn't he spend some time on advertising? I really had never seen anything about this movie until you guys were like, hey, this is the next watch. And that kind of sucks.
You were like, okay, Tubi.
Right. And I was like, okay, when did this happen? All right, Cat with the dreads. Okay.
You know what? Go in. Give me your highs and lows of the film.
Let's start with the only real like super low that I had was, I think that, how you can tell in certain movies where they're like trying to be bad, like, or a certain, it's like, oh, let me make this extra hacky to look like I'm this, new comedian that's coming out, and
Mhm.
it's like they tried too hard. It's like, hey, you guys, look at this corny joke. I am about to bomb. It was like super obvious, and I can't. Um, that was the only thing that truly, truly bothered me. That and without going into too much detail, I think that Katt just played himself with a different name, and it wasn't really acting. But those are my lows. The highs, again, the range of comedians from present day all the way back to when I was watching like Def Comedy Jam, and I shouldn't have been because I was way too young. It was good seeing all those faces again. I always, like I said, love to see Katt put money in other comedians' pockets, which he tries to do as often as possible. Um, and I just love a good Virgo cameo. My sis Keke Palmer was in there, so that's another high for me.
All right, all right, all right. Dad Panther, you want to take it away, sir?
All right. So for me, I would say the lows of the movie was the storyline missed the mark. They're trying to, resonate a certain story that does hold true. It's like, what do you do with the new comet who's doing the old school run traditionally, or even an old school person who's trying to stay afloat versus some of the younger ones or even older ones who are just finding a new path, whether it's social media or anything in between. It's just the jokes were too predictable, the storylines were too predictable. There wasn't enough realism in the story, though the story underlining was with substance. Some of the good stuff that I enjoyed about it was the cast. I thought the leading man and the woman, I think they did a great job with the relationship that made me feel that it was believable at times. But even on the back end of that, it was like, in my opinion, this I was going to spoil some. As a person who is married, happily married, it just was some stuff that I thought was sus, going through that storyline, and for it to be in there without someone saying, can we add a bit of realism in here so you can have an understanding of what the angle was? I thought was interesting, but the concept was good. It was smooth. And that was really it from what I saw.
Got you 150%. I would have to really agree with what my guy is saying. There is a character in here that is in a relationship and is a man child. And I'm not saying I don't like man children, but I don't like the explanation for crazy antics to be just because, oh man, you just a man child. Like you ain't learned how to grow up and communicate. It's like this whole film could have been done if niggas had just opened their mouths. This whole story falls apart if one person had just communicated with another person, they had some real conversation, and then all right, we would have got to where we got to. The story wouldn't have had the sting that it would have had. However, what I will say is I walked into this film expecting it to be horrible. You know what I mean? Not necessarily horrible, but like I'm expecting more of the to be classic. Scenes are gonna run on too long. You're gonna have some really, really over the top characters. So when I press play on the film, I'm watching this and I'm nervous the whole time, going, all right, is this the scene where it all falls apart? Oh, okay, they made it through the scene. Okay, is this the scene where it's all? I literally had this nervousness because it's good acting, but you can see they're not seasoned. That they're either trying to make stuff work because there's not enough dialogue, or they're giving X people too much time to riff and freestyle, and it probably should have just been tightened up a little bit, but it's not bad. None of it's bad. It's like, you're just like, ugh, this could have been better, or we could have tightened, you know what I mean? It was just that little edginess that kind of like, ugh, but I still enjoyed it. The script is a little thin. I'm not gonna lie about it. It's just thin. But because you have a plethora of strong comedians and and people that have been around the game long enough, they know how to make the scenes work, how to transition, how to get in and out and make stuff happen. You know what I mean? And then the way they wrapped it up at the end, I thought was pretty cool. I was like, wow, I thought you guys were seriously gonna flub this because wow, you were going down Tank Alley really fast. Like you were driving with no license. I think somebody had a blindfold on and they were going 80. You know what I'm saying? But you made it out, you cut the corner, and you know what I'm saying? And I was genuinely like a sigh of relief at the end of the movie, like somebody was doing like a trapeze act over top of like a fire pit with spikes in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, these brothers gonna kill themselves. I think that's the thing that makes me keep coming back to watch the film. So when people are like, man, you know, I don't like whenever people go, there's not a lot of independent black films that do some dope stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not. Watch this film. Like, this is a nice tightrope Daredevil film you need to watch here where they pull it out where they shouldn't have pulled it out. They should have died. Like, really, you should have slipped and died. But it worked. So suffice it to say, for me, I enjoyed the film, but it wasn't because they were like the greatest of all time, but it's like they made something paper thin, have heart, to have growth. The main character that has a significant amount of growth in that. And it went, and that there's so much, I'm not gonna say so much, but there's a lot of reality in this. Like, you know, moments where people are like sleeping in their cars and, you know, you're chasing your dream. It's not all beautiful. The opportunity doesn't come and then you're in a 5-star hotel and then all you gotta do is, you know, let me have my Eminem moment. I got one shot. Let me drop my bars and now I'm famous. It's like, nah, bro. Like, it's way more hard. And like, it was beautiful for them to show that realness, that reality. And it was like, yeah, you get that moment where you think you about to be there and then you lose it just that fast. And because you have determination, you know what I'm saying? Like, good things can come, but you know, ego and all that. I felt like this is, man, it's addressed so many things for modern day journeys to success. And I love the fact that they showed you the reality of the comedian grind. So, and I thought that was interesting for me. So with that being said, I'm done. Don't want to ramble on any further. And it's time for you. Anybody else want to say anything before we go into our Yami?
I will say I think they saved it by sprinkling in a few actors that actually have chops, and that's kind of what saved it a little bit. We know Keke Palmer has been on it since she was a little kid, and surprisingly, I will watch anything with Dion Cole in it. I think he's fantastic. He has made me hate him in like 3 movies, which is, you know,
that's crazy. But I would agree. When I saw Keke Palmer, I was thinking this is not going to go well, but she impressed the hell out of me, man. She did such a wonderful job in this film. So agree.
Yeah. I was about to say, and then there was one moment that I didn't like, which kind of ties into his statement about married life and how, you know, some shit should have just had, like, we need to go in. Without spoiling, I will say that resolved way too. There wouldn't have been no, oh, it's okay, you're just chasing your dreams like that. There should have been like some scrapping that happened, but it didn't. But we'll forgive it because, you know, it came out on Tubi. So hey, you know, there was a strike. Niggas wasn't working. It was a pandemic. Shit happens.
This came out way before the strike. But anyway, we ain't gonna get into all of that. We'll move on with our lives. It's, to me, I think this is on the higher tier of Black independent filmmaking. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, great videography, great cinematography, great, you know what I'm saying? Like great editing. This is good, man. Now, the writing falls short of glory. And I feel like the 2 main things that bring this film down is the lack of writing and the lack of directing. And I'm going to give the director some credit that no matter who you are, it's hard to direct dynamically talented comedians because, you know, it's hard unless you're just super seasoned like that. You'd have to be like a director on SNL. You got to know when to let them go and when to rein them in. You know what I'm saying? When to tighten up, when to be rigid and when to be cool. And that's something that takes time to learn. But shout out to them. They made it through. They went to war and they came back with a not a W, but like, you know, with something. Well, let's decide right now what they came back with. And it's time for a real review from you and from us. Is this a classic, a good watch, a catch on streaming, not doing it for me, or is it a oh hell no? Or if you ever show me this ever again, I will you. All right, if you're watching, drop your comments below. And if you're watching, enjoy the team's reviews. What do y'all feel like, guys? Panther, go first.
I'm gonna go ahead, and as I scroll right here to do my last pick in this year's draft, multitasking is best. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is catch it on streaming. It's something that if you see, watch it. I'm not gonna say necessarily is running in the background, but there are some moments that are funny that do carry the storyline. Yeah, you don't have the jokes the way you should with the lineup that you have and the cameos you have, but there is still something in this bargain bin we call streaming.
All right, Mimi.
Again, I won't throw it in the trash, but I also wouldn't pay for it. So we're gonna catch it on streaming. It's entertaining. You know, if you've got some time on your hands and you're home relaxing with maybe a drink or some friendly fire. I don't know if I would make time out of my day necessarily to watch it, but I wasn't like, give me my hour and a half back either. You know, it's cool. Catch it on streaming. Don't make any extra efforts.
Nah, I'm with you on that. Last but not least, I'm definitely going to say catch this on streaming. If you have a lot, you'd have time on your hands, you don't have any expectations, you just want to have a good time, have a couple of chuckles, you know what I mean, see some people that you really love in a film that you weren't expecting. I think this it really, you know, goes up for that. And also, as much as I loved Katt Williams in this was the first time I saw him and I went, you all right? Something wrong? Like, yeah, a stroke or something was going on. Like, he's so different in this film because he's not his personality isn't the normal over the top. You know, he was actually really kind of reserved and laid back, really cool. Like, this is the first time I saw him on like normal man, kind of like unk status, but he's like a famous Hollywood nigga. So, you know what I mean? So like, shout out to him for that. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate my panel, my esteemed panel, and all these good people for coming. We appreciate y'all for watching as long as you run, but do what I said to do and getting them comments and give me your rating. And we's right? Is we's wrong? What you think about the film? What is we gonna do next? Tell us what movies you want us to review out in them streets. With that being said, if my team has nothing else they want to add, we are going to kick it to them credits. Which y'all cool? Y'all got anything else y'all want to throw out there?
No, just see I definitely, as I said earlier today, it wasn't Katt Williams' normal acting. It was Katt Williams playing Katt Williams in real life, but with a different name. So I think it was just, like you said, the cool unk status that happens to be a Hollywood nigga. He was himself, but like his name was Marcus.
You know what I'm saying? Viva la Mexico and Will the Pep. We out of here.